Hello. I'm going to read you an awesome book called Bats. It is by Gail Gibbons. And this story is super awesome. It's going to give us all kinds of interesting facts about bats. So, as you are listening, I want you to be thinking about the facts that I tell you on each page and keep your very favorite one in mind because I want you to write or tell a sentence to an adult after you hear the story. And I also want you to go ahead and draw a picture of one of the types of bats. All right, here we go. Bats. Notice what time of day it is in this picture. And the bats are out flying. But that might give us some clues as to some information about bats. Let's see. Bats dive, swoop, and swerve through the dark night sky. These creatures are nocturnal, meaning they are awake at night and asleep during the day. Most people have never seen a bat. Have you ever seen a bat? We see them sometimes outside of my house at night if you're looking very carefully. Actually, my parents got one in their house very recently when my brother and his family were visiting them. So they had to get up. It was in the middle of the night and they had to get up and somehow get the bat back outside. Very interesting evening they had. Bats have played an important part in stories. Many people have thought bats were evil spirits. Others have thought they were friends of ghosts and witches. Bats have been around for a long time. The oldest bat fossil found is about 50 million years old. These prehistoric bats looked a lot like today's bats. All bats have the same basic characteristics, including large wings, small bodies, and lightweight bones. Take a look at this diagram. A diagram is like an illustration that gives you a lot of information. So this bat right here is a little brown bat, and it shows you the wingspan, which is the distance from the tip of one wing all the way to the tip of the other wing. And the brown bat's wingspan is 10 inches. Wow. That is smaller than a ruler. Most rulers go up to 12 inches, and that's smaller than a ruler. Here's the wing. The fur of a bat can be either black, white, red, brown, or gray. Did you realize that they are covered in fur? That is a good piece of information right there. Here's the body. It has a little tail. Look very closely. See the little tail? It has a little foot, an ear, a nose. Here's an eye right there. And from the ear to the foot is 3 inches. That is very small. That is smaller than my whiteboard marker. Oh my goodness. That's its whole body height. Bat wings are different from the wings of insects or birds. A bat's wing has long arm bones with very long finger bones. A thin skin, called a membrane, stretches between the bones. The thumb ends with a claw. Very interesting. Look at this. So here's its arm bone, and then its thumb with a claw at the tip. Then we have a second finger, a third finger, a fourth finger, and a fifth finger. And this right here is called the membrane. It connects all of the fingers of the bat. Very neat. The membrane connects the wing bones to a bat's body and legs. A bat can move each finger separately to change the shape of its wings. This helps it change its speed and direction quickly. So again, here's the membrane. And this is a picture of a noctule bat. So let's open the whole picture. You can see the whole thing. Wow. Some bats can fly as fast as 15 miles an hour and as high as 10,000 feet. Because many unkind things have been said about bats, some people still think they are scary. Actually, bats are shy and gentle animals. Here's a picture of a funnel-eared bat. Bats are mammals, as are dogs, cats, and humans. All mammals are warm-blooded animals, and their babies are born alive instead of being hatched from eggs. Bats are the only mammals that can fly. It's pretty impressive. Here's a picture of a giant flying fox. That's a different type of bat. And you can see here in the picture, its toe claws are wrapped around the branch of the tree. When a bat lands, it flips upside down and hangs by its toe claws. It uses these claws to move around. Take a look at this picture. So we can see that there are bats hanging upside down. It looks like they're in a cave. And then we have a little picture insert at the top with a piece of information. So let's read that first. Bats migrate when they go to and from a warmer climate. I wonder, can you think of any other animals that migrate, that go to a warmer climate during the wintertime? Bats choose many kinds of dark nooks and crannies to live in. These places are called roosts. Many bats live together in caves, attics, barns, or tall trees. In places where it gets cold in the winter, some kinds of bats migrate to warmer climates. Others use their roosts to hibernate until spring. So you would be very unlikely to see a bat flying around outside at night in the winter, because the bats would have migrated to somewhere warm, or they would be hibernating through the winter. Here is a picture of the Mexican free-tailed bat. Bats hibernate when they sleep deeply for long periods of time. Just before hibernating begins, bats eat lots of food to live on during the long winter months. Their heartbeats slow down and their body temperatures drop. That's what happens when they're hibernating. Oh, here's a different type of bat. This is called an epaulet bat. Look what they're feeding on. Looks like berries in a tree. They must eat fruit. Bats live on every continent except Antarctica. Most of them live in hot climates where there are many insects, fruits, and flowers to feed on. We live on the continent of North America. That's part of a large land mass that America is part of. We're part of North America, and we have bats here. This is a Kitti's hog-nosed bat, and this one is a giant flying fox. There are about 1,000 different kinds of bats. The smallest is the Kitti's hog-nosed bat. Its wingspan is 5 inches, and it weighs only 1/14 of an ounce. Wow, it's very light. The biggest bat is the giant flying fox. It has a wingspan of about 5 feet, and it weighs about 2 pounds. It's still very light. They both live in Asia, so they don't live around here, but about 5 feet. So it would be a little bit shorter than me, my body, maybe from my shoulders down to my feet is the wingspan. And still, it only weighs 2 pounds. So that would weigh less than, if you have a cat at your house, it would weigh less than your cat. It would certainly weigh less than your dog, unless you have a very, very tiny dog. Although it still would weigh less than your dog. We have guinea pigs upstairs, and they probably weigh maybe about the same as my guinea pigs. They're pretty big for guinea pigs. This is a little brown bat. Most bats are insect eaters and have a special way of seeing in the night called echolocation. A bat sends out a rapid beeping sound, too high-pitched for people to hear. So this is what the sound goes out as, and then it bounces back. Check this out. So the bat sends out its beeping sound. Then it bounces off a nearby insect. And the sound waves come back to the bat. That's called echolocation. Sort of, you can think about like echoes when you hear the sound waves of echoes coming back toward you. So that's how the bat can find its food at night. Isn't that cool? When hunting, the sound waves hit an insect. The waves bounce back to the bat's ears as echoes. These echoes tell the bat the size and shape of the insect and where it is located. In a flash, the bat scoops up the insect. If it weren't for bats, there would be too many insects. You might already think that there are too many insects around, but imagine if there weren't bats. There would be even more. This is a nectar bat. I think it gets its name from what it eats. Nectar is the sweet juice from flowers. You can see the author, who's also the illustrator, is drawing a picture showing the bat eating the nectar from a flower. Up here it says pollination happens when a grain of pollen of a stamen lands on the stigma of another flower like itself. There are fruit and nectar-eating bats too. These bats help pollinate plants so we can have foods such as avocados, figs, and bananas. They also help scatter seeds. Oh my, this one's called a fishing bat. Look in his mouth. Look what he has. A few kinds of bats are meat eaters. They eat fish, frogs, mice, and sometimes birds. Oh my goodness. They have smooth, sharp, crushing teeth that allow them to eat what they catch, bones and all. Wow, they must have very sharp teeth. Oh, look, this one is the vampire bat. See what's happening here? Blood is the only food for vampire bats. They are found in Mexico, Central America, and South America. When the vampire bat finds an animal, it makes a tiny cut with its teeth in the animal's skin. Then the bat laps up the blood with its tongue. The animal hardly feels the cut. So it doesn't kill the animal, and the animal doesn't really even feel it. So that's a common misconception that people have about vampire bats. They don't turn into vampires at all. Oh, many scary and untrue stories have been told about vampire bats and people called vampires. The famous fictional vampire called Dracula frequently is shown with bats circling him. But remember, this is a fictional character, not real. Look at these bats' faces. Look how different they are. This is the dawn bat. The tube-nosed fruit bat, you can see its nose is shaped like little tubes. The Jamaican fruit bat, and the epaulet bat. Some bats have long, narrow faces, like this one. Some bats have leaf-like shapes on their faces, like that one, while others look like dogs. Doesn't that one look almost like a dog? Here is a little brown bat. Most bats have very good hearing and can see well. Most bats have a good sense of smell, too. In the springtime, female bats gather together in roosts that will become nurseries. There, they will give birth to their babies, called pups. Most bats have only one pup at a time. Can you think of another animal whose babies are called pups? Yeah, dogs have pups or puppies. During birth, the mother bat hangs by her thumb claws with her head up. She forms a basket with her tail membrane. At birth, the pup slides from her body into the little basket that she makes. So again, this one's the little brown bat, and here's the basket that she's making. And there's her pup right in there. As soon as the pup is born, its mother hangs head down again, upside down. The pup nurses while being cradled under the mother's wing. The pup clings to its mother's fur, using its own sharp teeth and claws. You're going to want to remember those details for your picture that you're drawing of a bat. Remember, it has a furry body, sharp teeth, and sharp claws. The young pup grows quickly. A 10-day-old pup is almost too heavy for its mother to carry. At 3 months old, it is flying on nightly hunting trips. When it is about 1 year old, it is an adult. Boy, that is so different from humans, huh? Can you imagine a human baby at 10 days old being too heavy for its mother to carry? Can't imagine that. And at 3 months going out to hunt at night, and 1 year old being an adult? Very different. Today, in many places, bat populations are getting smaller. These bats are endangered. One reason is that many people still don't like bats and destroy their habitats. Other causes are pollution and the use of pesticides for killing crop-damaging insects. So those things are all hazardous to the bats. In many places, there aren't enough bats left to keep down the number of insect pests or to pollinate flowers. People are learning how to help protect bats. Some people provide bat houses where they can roost. Sometimes people cover bat cave entrances with grill work. Bats are free to come and go, but people can't enter. Also, there are nature preserves that protect large groups of bats. You see the grill work over here in front of the cave? So see, the bats can fly right through those spaces, but people can't get in. That's to help protect the bats. Bats play an important role in nature. It's fun to learn about them. Here are some really cool facts about bats. Diving, swooping, and swerving bats. The Mexican free-tailed bats that live in Bracken Cave near San Antonio, Texas, eat about, get this, 250 tons of insects a night. That's in one night. Could you imagine? Wow. Almost 1/2 of the bat species living in the United States are endangered. Under the Congress Avenue Bridge in Austin, Texas, one can see more than 1 million Mexican free-tailed bats roosting. They have become a tourist attraction. In China, bats are a symbol of good luck. Most bats live to be 10 to 14 years old. Some bats communicate with each other by using their sense of smell or making sounds. Have you ever heard the saying, as blind as a bat? It's not true. Bats can see quite well. Some people think all bats carry a disease called rabies. This is not true. Bats can get rabies, but no more easily than any other animal. Never touch a bat you find on the ground. It might try to bite you if it is frightened, and it could be sick. There are about 40 species of bats found in North America. Remember, that's the continent we live on. The most common is the little brown bat. It can eat 600 insects in an hour. Wow, good for them and lucky for us. All right, I hope you enjoyed this book. Remember, you are going to go ahead and draw a picture of one of the types of bats. Okay, keep in mind what its body looks like. Remember, small body with fur, big wings. And remember, it's got these long fingers holding the wings together. Does have a tail, little legs at the bottom. Sometimes its nose looks a little bit different, but very sharp teeth. And it's got little claws at the end of its fingers. Okay, I can't wait to see your drawings and to see your sentence. Bye, friends.